And we are back on the live stream. How are you doing, folks? The day continues on. The march of expertise at this desk has been nuts. It's been a blast for me, I gotta tell you. Are you having fun? Are you tired yet of seeing that notice pop up on your screen that there's another live stream taking place? You tell me. I gotta ask you a question. Are you watching us on your app while you're secretly in a session? Because if you are, you're not alone. You've stopped by, you've told me that. I'm glad we can help you share this wisdom. If you haven't done it yet, go check out the interviews we've already done. You can find those through your app, you can find them on Enterprise Connect on the website, or on the No Jitter website. So check those all out, lots of wisdom there. Continuing that parade of incredible insights, I'm joined right now by Blair Pleasant. How you doing?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Now Blair, you're with Commfusion and UC Strategies, is that right?
That's right.
All right, so for the context of our conversation we're going to have, can you perhaps provide our audience a little background about what you do and what your firm does?
Sure, I'm an independent analyst.
Yep.
And I basically cover unified communications, collaboration, contact center, all things business communications related. I help end users, vendors, integrators, basically helping to understand the market, where things are going, and what they can do in the future.
And that's huge, right? Because there's so much going on right now. Having that, shall we say, that independent person who has their pulse on everything, gets exposure to everything, whereas the day-to-day person is heads down in their daily job. You add such an incredible, valuable service for their own, I guess, knowledge and their wisdom so they can make decisions, and also to protect them and minimize their risk and their exposure.
Yeah, and I talk to all the vendors in the industry. For the most part, I talk to end users, I talk to the resellers, so I really get an understanding of what's going on, what's working, what isn't working, where things are going, and it really does help to have that larger view of the industry.
So now, the show, how's the show been going for you?
It's been nonstop.
It's been, and I hear that over and over again, and you've got a session, no, you're not, you're going to be at a booth later on today, is that right?
That's right, today at 3 o'clock I'll be at the 5.9 booth talking about real-time resolution for the contact center.
All right, so as we go through this, I'll remind you where she's going to be, because I know you're going to want to see her and talk to her more.
And you can remind me where.
Takeaways from that session when all was said and done.
Yeah, so yesterday I moderated a panel. We had several different vendors representing different architectures. So it was really about why cloud architectures matter. So looking at UCaaS and CCaaS, why the architecture matters. So we talked about different types of architectures that there are. There's a private cloud, and then there's several different public clouds. So I think what happens is a lot of people just think public cloud is one thing.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned is that there are several different types of public clouds, and within that there's overlaps, so there are lots of differences, but then there's a lot of overlaps, and then there are ways that they're also coming together. So there's multi-instance public cloud, multi-tenant public cloud, and now a new thing that we're calling distributed microservices-based public cloud. So microservices are being used in all different types of environments now, and that's really helping to be more modular and to build things in a much easier way. So you're not just buying, one monolithic type of solution, but it's really building blocks and different ways of being able to create solutions. So some of the vendors talked about the ways that they're using microservices to create new capabilities and new features and functionality in a much more simple and fast way of doing it. So other things that I learned is the vendors like to talk a lot.
Yes, they do.
But the users really have to look at what works for their environment. There's no one right solution for everybody. For some types of organizations, the private cloud might be best. For other types of organizations, the typical multi-tenant solution might be best. And for others, this new microservices-based type of solution might make more sense as far as like scalability and things like that. So enterprises have to look at their needs. Is compliance really important? Is quality of service the most important thing? Is it customization? What are the things that are most important to the organization? And once you think about that, then you can try to identify which type of architecture makes the most sense for your environment.
Do you find most of those clients can readily state what the most important items are, or is that more of a let's have a discussion amongst ourselves?
It's let's have a discussion. They may think, well, security isn't really that important to me, but then when you drill down into it, it's like, yeah, security, probably is number 2 to me. So it really is important to have, the vendor, the system integrator, the reseller, whoever it is, really drill down and talk to them about what their needs are. So in a cloud environment, you're going to have the service providers or the cloud providers, and they really need to talk to the enterprises and find out, what's your business, what are your goals, what your users do, and really try to find out what's most important to them.
All right, so if that first session you did was, shall we say, in discussion with the vendors,
yes.
Let's flip it around, because I know you also did a session with the end users about communications platform as a service, or CPaaS. So in that case, with the end users, what did you learn from them?
They're not as verbose as the vendors.
Nice.
They were much more succinct, and they got to the point, which was really nice. But there was a lot of affirmation, and they definitely are really excited about what they're doing with APIs and CPaaS. And I kept saying, what are the challenges? Is it scary? What do you need? And they were like, this is great. It's easy to use, as long as you have developers. So they were really very, very big advocates of using CPaaS and APIs. And it really helped them to change their businesses and to be able to do things that they weren't able to do otherwise. They were able to create applications and ways of communicating either within their organization or with others in ways that they weren't able to do with legacy systems or legacy types of applications. So this really opened up a whole new way for them to do business and to change the way, to really digitally transform the way they do things.
So if I'm sitting in that audience during that session and I listen to these end users, I guess, declaring the success they've had, but I'm not there yet, what words of wisdom can you share with me?
So what I told the audience is the first thing is to think about what your business case is or your use case. You're not going to just say, okay, I want to start using APIs and CPaaS. You really have to think about what's the business case, what's the use case that makes the most sense for me? Is it going to be, sending out alert notifications? Is it going to be two-factor verification? Those are some of the capabilities. So thinking about, I can send out alerts really easily, or I can do SMS with my customers really easily, or I can let my bus drivers and my customers talk to each other without knowing who each other are, kind of like the Uber model.
The Uber model, yeah.
So think about, what is it that you're trying to accomplish, and then identify how can I create applications that can leverage these APIs and CPaaS in order to do that. But it's really coming up with that business case that's the hardest part. All
right, so as we look forward to the balance of the year of 2017, are there any other major trends you're seeing driving the industry?
I think what we're seeing with APIs and CPaaS is really going to be the big thing this year. In fact, I wrote for No Jitter a couple months ago an article called 2017 is going to be the year of the developer, because that's really who is going to be doing a lot of this work. The developers are going to be the ones who are doing the work with the APIs and the CPaaS to create these applications or to communication enable these applications. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more disruption from these APIs and from CPaaS types of things. Beyond that, we're going to be seeing, more types of collaboration solutions. We're not hearing about unified communications quite as much. We're really hearing more about collaboration and different ways teams can work together, customers can interact with their suppliers, making it more seamless. We've had collaboration, but now it's really about how to make it easier, how to make it more intuitive, how to really make it seamless for organizations. And then the last thing is cloud. We've been talking about cloud for years, but it really is here now. It's not a question of when are we going to be doing it. So now it's a question of, okay, I'm doing it, what do I need to be thinking about? How do I avoid problems? How do I have the best relationship with my vendor? How do I roll this out to my end users to make it really a good experience for them? So focusing on end user adoption, which is something I've been talking about for a while. So we're really there now. So it's going to the next step of how do we make what we're doing the best experience as possible for the end users.
All right, so we know we can see you at the vendor's booth. Which vendor again?
Five9.
Five9. Thank you so much. At 3 o'clock, right?
Yes.
But if I can't make that, do you have a website we can go to learn more about you?
Absolutely. You can go to Commfusion.com, or you can also go to ucstrategies.com, where I write a lot of articles and blogs and do podcasts along with some of my fellow UC Strategies experts, analysts, and consultants. And you can find lots of information there, and you'll see lots of my articles, blogs, and podcasts there.
All right, so that is Blair Pleasant. She has been a rock star to talk to today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Check her out at 3 o'clock at that booth. Check her out on the website. In the meantime, keep enjoying the show. There's a wealth of knowledge. Don't be shy. Work it, folks. We'll see you soon.